Imagine a prince who flees his kingdom to escape an arranged marriage and ends up finding love in the most unexpected place, a poor village. How will this secret romance challenge tradition and change the fate of an entire kingdom? Come with me to uncover this gripping tale of love and destiny. Prince Obinna, heir to the throne of Umona, felt trapped. His parents had chosen Princess Amara, a woman of noble birth but unbearable arrogance, as his bride. While her beauty was unmatched, her heart was cold. Obinna desired a partner who valued humility and kindness, qualities Amara lacked. The king insisted the marriage would strengthen their kingdom's political alliance. "Your duty is not to yourself, but to Umona," he declared. Obinna argued that a loveless union would bring him misery, but the queen dismissed his concerns. He felt unheard, like a puppet in their grand plans. Late one evening, Obinna decided he could no longer follow his parents' wishes. He quietly packed a small bag, taking only a few coins, plain clothes, and a heavy cloak to disguise himself. He left the palace under the cover of darkness, avoiding the guards patrolling the gates. His heart pounded as he crossed the border of his kingdom, stepping into unknown lands. Though fear lingered, so did a sense of freedom. He vowed to find a woman who would love him for his true self and not for the crown he wore. The journey had begun. Days passed as Obinna wandered through unfamiliar forests and villages. He ate sparingly and slept on cold ground, enduring hardships he had never faced before. Though physically exhausted, his spirit grew stronger. He was determined to live a life where love, not duty, guided his future. Obinna's journey brought him to the kingdom of Zaroko, a place known for its hardworking people. He walked for miles under the scorching sun until dark clouds suddenly gathered. A violent storm broke out, drenching him completely. He searched for shelter but found none in the empty stretch of forest. The rain turned heavier, and the winds howled fiercely. Obinna, now cold and shivering, took refuge under a large tree. He hugged himself for warmth, but it was of little use. His thin clothes clung to his body, and he began to feel the weight of his decision to live. As he sat in misery, he saw a young woman approaching with a pot of water balanced on her head. She paused when she noticed him under the tree. Her clothes were simple, and her face was tired but kind. She asked, "Why are you standing here alone in the rain?" Obinna hesitated but said, "I'm a traveler who lost his way." The young woman introduced herself as Adiz and offered to help him. "My family's house is nearby. We don't have much, but you can stay with us tonight," she said. Reluctantly, Obinna stood and followed her. At Adiz's modest home, her mother and younger siblings greeted him warmly. They gave him dry clothes and shared their simple meal of yam porridge. Though the food was plain, Obinna felt a deep sense of gratitude. The family's kindness touched him in a way he had never experienced before. Grateful for their hospitality, Obinna offered to help Adiz's family. He joined them in daily chores, fetching water, cutting firewood, and working on their farm. The labor was backbreaking, unlike anything he had done in the palace, but he felt pride in contributing to their survival. The villagers of Zaroko noticed the stranger living with Adiz's family. Some whispered about his mysterious arrival, wondering if he was hiding from his past. Despite the rumors, Adiz always stood by him, saying he was a good man trying to rebuild his life. Her loyalty made him feel safe. One market day, Adiz invited Obinna to accompany her. The market was lively but chaotic, with traders shouting to sell their goods. Obinna saw the villagers' struggles to earn a living. Farmers sold their produce for meager coins, and the poor bartered what little they had to survive. Obinna admired Adiz's resilience as she skillfully negotiated for her family's needs. She moved with quiet confidence, treating everyone with respect. Watching her, he realized she possessed the qualities he had always sought: kindness, humility, and strength. He began to feel a growing affection for her that he could not ignore. Though Obinna kept his royal identity hidden, he felt conflicted. He knew he could not remain in Zoroku forever, but he didn't want to lose Addis or her family. For the first time in his life, he found himself questioning whether he truly wanted to return to the palace. As weeks turned into months, Obinna became a part of Addis' family. He worked tirelessly in the fields, shared in their laughter, and learned their ways. Addis' siblings adored him, and her mother treated him like a son. For the first time, Obinna felt a sense of belonging. One evening, as they sat outside under the stars, Addis asked Obinna about his past. He hesitated, fearing the truth would ruin everything. He said, "I left my home because I wanted to find a better life." Addis nodded, sensing there was more to his story, but chose not to press. The bond between Obinna and Addis grew stronger. He admired her determination and selflessness. Despite her struggles, she always put others first. Addis, too, noticed Obinna's kindness and humility. She often wondered how a man so gentle and hardworking could have ended up wandering alone. One day, while working in the fields, Obinna saved Addis from a snake that had crept near her feet. He acted swiftly, killing the snake with a stick. She was shaken but grateful. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling. Their eyes met, and a new understanding passed between them. That night, Obinna lay awake, thinking about Addis. He realized he cared for her deeply. But he also knew his secret could destroy everything. He wondered if he could ever reveal the truth and still keep the life he had come to cherish so much. Back in Umona, the palace was in turmoil. The king and queen were furious about Obinna's disappearance. They sent messengers to nearby kingdoms, searching for any trace of him. Rumors spread, but no one could confirm where the prince had gone. The royal family grew desperate. Princess Amara, humiliated by the situation, demanded answers. "How dare he run away?" she fumed. Her arrogance turned to anger, and she vowed to make Obinna pay if he ever returned. The king, however, focused on finding his son before it became a scandal that would tarnish the royal name. The search parties ventured far and wide, but Obinna had been careful. His simple disguise and avoidance of major roads kept him hidden. Still, the king instructed his men to continue searching relentlessly, fearing for his son's safety and the future of the kingdom. Meanwhile, in Zoroku, Obinna remained unaware of the growing search for him. He was focused on his new life with Addis' family. However, the weight of his secret began to trouble him. He knew that if the truth came out, it could shatter the peace he had found. One fateful day, a group of royal guards from Umona passed through Zoroku, asking questions about a missing prince. Though no one recognized Obinna, their presence sent a chill through him. He realized that his time in hiding might be running out. One evening, Addis and her family hosted a small gathering to celebrate a good harvest. Villagers came to share food and stories, filling the house with warmth. Obinna felt a rare sense of happiness, forgetting for a moment the burden of his secret. During the celebration, an elderly traveler arrived at their door, seeking shelter for the night. Addis' mother welcomed him, offering him food and a place to rest. The man introduced himself as Ambomalu, a storyteller who traveled from village to village, sharing tales of faraway lands. As Ambomalu began to speak, he recounted the story of a missing prince from Umona. He described the young prince as kind but conflicted, running from a marriage he didn't want. Obinna's heart raced as the villagers listened intently. He avoided eye contact, fearing someone might connect the story to him. After the gathering, Addis approached Obinna. "Did you notice how quiet you became during Ambomalu's story?" she asked. Her voice was calm but curious. Obinna forced a smile and replied, "It's just a sad tale. I wonder what happened to the prince." Addis nodded, though her eyes lingered on him. That night, Obinna knew he couldn't hide forever. He feared losing Addis' trust, but he also feared the consequences of revealing his true identity. As he lay awake, he resolved to tell her the truth when the time was right, even if it risked everything he had come to love. The days following Ambomalu's story were tense for Obinna. Adi sensed something was troubling him, but she chose to wait, trusting he would share when ready. Meanwhile, the royal guards continued searching nearby villages, and whispers of their presence reached Zaroko. Obinna knew time was running out. One evening, while they were alone by the stream, Adis confronted him. "There's something you're not telling me," she said gently. "You can trust me, Obinna." Her words, filled with sincerity, struck his heart. He decided that if anyone deserved the truth, it was Adis. Taking a deep breath, Obinna revealed his identity. "I am Prince Obinna of Umona. I fled my kingdom to escape an arranged marriage," he confessed. Adis stared at him in disbelief, struggling to process the revelation. "A prince? You've been living as a commoner this entire time?" she asked. "Yes," he replied. "I wanted to find someone who would love me for who I am, not for my title or wealth. I found that here, with you." Tears filled Adis' eyes. She admired his honesty but felt overwhelmed by the weight of his secret. Adis needed time to think. She walked away, leaving Obinna alone by the stream. He feared he had ruined everything. That night, he lay awake, wondering if he had made the right choice. Meanwhile, Adis struggled to reconcile the man she knew with the prince he truly was. The next morning, Adis approached Obinna. "I don't care about your title. You've shown me the kind of man you are, and that's enough for me," she said firmly. Obinna felt a wave of relief and gratitude, knowing she still cared for him despite the truth. Their happiness was short-lived. News spread that royal guards were in Zaroko, searching for the missing prince. Villagers whispered about the mysterious stranger staying with Adis' family. Some began to suspect that Obinna might be the man they were looking for, though no one dared confront him directly. One day, while Obinna was walking in the fields, the guards arrived at Adis' home. They questioned her family, describing the prince in detail. Adis' mother denied knowing anyone matching the description, but the guards decided to search the village thoroughly. Tension filled. Adis ran to warn Obinna, finding him just before the guards reached the fields. "They are looking for you," she whispered urgently. Obinna knew he couldn't hide forever. "I won't put your family in danger," he said. "It's time I face my destiny." Adis pleaded with him to be careful. As the guards approached, Obinna stepped forward. "I am the man you're looking for," he declared. The guards were stunned to see the prince in such humble surroundings. They informed him that his parents demanded his immediate return, leaving no room for negotiation. The villagers gathered as the guards escorted Obinna back to the palace. Adis stood silently, tears streaming down her face. "I'll never forget you," Obinna promised, his voice breaking. "You've shown me what love and kindness truly mean." She nodded, unable to speak, her heart heavy with sorrow. The journey back to Umona was long and somber. Obinna dreaded the confrontation with his parents and the life he had tried so hard to escape. The guards treated him with respect, but he felt like a prisoner being led to an uncertain fate. At the palace, the king and queen were overjoyed to see their son again. However, their joy quickly turned to anger when Obinna refused to marry Princess Amora. "I found someone I truly love," he said. "I won't betray my heart for the..." The king was furious. "Your duty is to this kingdom," he roared. Obinna stood his ground. "I must be a leader who values love and compassion. I won't rule alongside someone who doesn't share those values." His words left the court in stunned silence. Meanwhile, back in Zaroko, Adis struggled to return to her daily life. She missed Obinna deeply but tried to focus on her family and responsibilities. She often wondered if she would ever see him again or if their love had been nothing more than a fleeting dream. The king and queen held a council to decide Obinna's fate. Some advisors argued that forcing him to marry Princess Amora would only lead to further rebellion. Others suggested finding a compromise that would secure both the kingdom's future and the prince's happiness. The debate was heated. Obinna, confined to his chambers, refused to relent. He wrote letters to Adiz, though he had no way of sending them. He poured his heart into the words, expressing his love and promising to find a way back to her. The letters became a source of hope. Princess Amora, insulted by Obinna's rejection, demanded justice. "He humiliated me," she declared. "I deserve compensation for this disgrace." The court grew divided, with some supporting her claim and others sympathizing with Obinna's plight. The kingdom's unity hung by a thread. Finally, the queen proposed a solution. "If Obinna can prove that the woman he loves is worthy of being queen, we will accept her. But if she is found lacking, he must fulfill his royal duty and marry Amora." The king reluctantly agreed to the plan. Obinna saw this as his chance. "I'll bring Adiz to the palace," he vowed. "She has more heart and strength than anyone here can imagine." The king gave him 1 month to return with her, setting the stage for the ultimate test of their love. Obinna returned to Zoroku, escorted by a small royal entourage. The villagers were shocked to see him again, this time dressed in fine robes. He approached Adiz's family, bowing humbly. "I've come to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage," he said. "She is the one I choose as queen." Adiz was overwhelmed. "I can't be a queen," she whispered. "I'm just a simple village girl." Obinna took her hands. "You're more than that to me. Your kindness, courage, and heart make you the perfect queen. Please, trust me." Her family gave their blessing, and she agreed to go with him. At the palace, Adiz faced scrutiny from the court. She was tested on her intelligence, compassion, and ability to handle royal duties. Despite her nerves, she impressed everyone with her humility and wisdom. Even the skeptical Princess Amora was forced to acknowledge her worth. The king and queen, seeing how much Adiz meant to Obinna and how capable she was, finally gave their blessing. A grand celebration followed, uniting the kingdoms in joy. Obinna and Adiz's love story became a symbol of hope and change, inspiring others to follow their hearts. Obinna and Adiz ruled Umona with fairness and compassion, transforming the kingdom into a place where love and kindness thrived. Their journey from hardship to happiness proved that true love, built on trust and understanding, could overcome even the greatest obstacles.